All right, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for being here, for being a part of the Royal We. Now, it is Monday night, which means it's time to have a brief Royal We live chat, and tonight it's going to have to be brief because we are expecting a massive thunderstorm, springtime thunderstorm here in the Midwest to come barreling through here in just a few moments. So I'm going to wrap this one up quickly because I don't want to be out here in my studio when lightning strikes. Well, hello everybody. Hi Shelly. It's good to see you. SS Karen Akins. Good to see you. Key Chen. It's good to see you. Tanya. As always, it's good to see you. I'm so glad that you all are here. I posted a couple of videos today. Hopefully you all had a chance to check them out. Hey, Salon Savvy 64. The first video I posted was kind of just a sporadic moment. I happened to be walking by some chickens, and I was striking up a conversation with, hi, Jennifer. Hi, Colleen. I was striking up a conversation with somebody who was there taking care of the chickens, and they were I would like to have chickens one day. That was part of the conversation. I wanted to get chickens. Maybe me and the kiddos, we can have some chickens, raise some chickens, have eggs. You know what I mean? I think it'd be a fun little project to have. And they shook their head and said, "No, chickens are tough. You got to deal with a lot of stuff with chickens, you know." And I'm like, "Really? How so?" And then this lady was explaining to me how chickens are kind of nasty, especially when they're young. They just peck at each other and they'll eat each other's eyes and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Are you serious? I didn't know this." And they go, "Oh yeah." And she said, "Where do you think they got the pecking order from?" And I was curious to know more about it. I'm like, "Well, what are they doing? Why do chickens do that?" And she says, "That's just what chickens do, especially when they're young. They peck at each other to establish who's dominant or whatever." And I'm like, "Wow, what a trip. I didn't know that, the pecking order." And so it got me thinking about narcissistic abuse, and got me thinking about how the narcissists that I've dealt with do the same stuff. They pick and they peck, and some covertly, some overtly, but nonetheless, they're just pecking, trying to establish that dominance. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like chickens are not the smartest things in the world. Why do we behave like them? And so that was the point of that video. But like I said, it was just very sporadic. I didn't have a whole lot of time to get, from a technical standpoint, I didn't get my color set, not my color, but my exposure set right. So towards the end of the video, it was getting darker, but the audio was good. You were able to hear me, which is good. It came out pretty good. Now, I just posted another video that I did here in the studio. The video that I posted just a few minutes ago for you is all about understanding what's broken in your life. How many of you have had a hard time trying to figure out oh, thank you, Karen. So Karen let me know that chickens are great to have. Grew up with 30 of them. Only roosters do that. Okay, so the roosters are the ones that walk around pecking. Well, there you go. So I don't think you need roosters in order to have eggs, right? We could just get a bunch of chickens and have eggs. And if there's no roosters, there's no problems, hopefully. Hopefully that's the deal. 2 hens would be good. Listen, I heard, from what I understand, it basically goes about an egg per hen a day, right? I'll probably need like 4, right? 5, 6. Maybe I eat 6 eggs a day. Well, I got the kiddos and stuff, right? So we'll all have eggs a day. Hens for eggs. Why not? Absolutely. I'm going to. One of these days, I'm going to get a hen house, and who knows? I'll make a hen house out of an old swing set, have some chickens, and I'll talk to you and share with you stories and insights I'm learning from watching the chickens. Can learn a lot about narcissism from looking at the chickens. Now, moving on from that video, yeah, Disappearing Remedy was just watching the most recent video. That's on the brokenness. For those of you who have not seen that video yet, hi, Julie. How are you? Revived Lady, how are you? Holly Algio, how are you? It's good to see all you. Emily Hobbs, it's good to see you. Glad you all are here. So the most recent video is on being broken, and how many of you have struggled to figure out how to heal, how to move on with your life. In my own personal experience, struggling with the reason that it's so hard is because we're oftentimes focusing on the wrong things. We think our heart's broken. We think, I've heard people say your spirit's been broken, this and that. These things are problematic answers, and that we don't even know where to start when we are told we have a broken heart. How do you fix a broken heart? Well, okay, I guess you just, like I said in the video, you give it time. But how much time does that take? And so what these things do, having the only description for your pain of abuse, of being a broken heart, broken spirit, this and that, it leaves you in a place where you really don't even know how to fix it. You don't know what to do. And so I was looking at all the things and the reasons it took me a long time to heal, and what I've discovered and what finally brought me to a place of healing. And really that video, the video that I just shared with you, that I just uploaded right now, is the secret to being able to heal. Now, it's not easy, but it is the secret. And the secret is not to focus on a broken heart or broken spirit or depression or whatever. The secret is to understand that your narrative in life has been damaged. It's been shattered. Your narrative is how you view the world, and it's how you view yourself in this world. This is all based on your narrative. It's what you've been raised to believe about the world and yourself. It begins at home. Some of it's done in school. Some of it's done in church. Some of it's done in your group of friends. Whatever the case may be, you're given a narrative. Narcissism comes along and shatters your narrative, shatters the way you see yourself, because things don't work anymore. You see that being the good, kind, lovely person doesn't work for you. Right? So that narrative has been shattered. Once you get this and you understand this, you slip away. You start to step away from the idea of having a broken heart, broken spirit. You understand, oh my gosh, it's the way I viewed the world and the way I viewed myself in this world. That is what's been broken. The good news about that is that it's fixable. You rebuild your narrative. The best part about rebuilding your narrative is, for the first time, no matter what age you are, I didn't say this in the video, but I should have. I'm going to tell you guys this. No matter what age you are, you could be in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. It's never too late to rebuild your narrative. And the best part is that for the first time, it's going to be your narrative. You're going to build it. It's not going to be what your parents told you are. It's not going to be what the schools and the teachers told you are. It's not going to be what your social circles told you are, or even the church told you are. It's going to be what you tell yourself you are, in relation to the world that you now have experienced and you've seen firsthand. This creates a powerful new narrative. You could be anybody that you want to be. And you can see the world in any way that you want to see it, so long as it's now you understand that the responsibility to protect yourself, to form a narrative that protects you in this life, is your responsibility. Once you experience narcissistic abuse, you have no excuses to experience it again. Thank you, Rice Shines. Pow, 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 pow. I love that. Yeah, I'll give you some punches back for that. Yes. Thank you. And also thank you, Tanya. I love that cute little what is that? A fox? Love that. Thank you. Tanya, thank you too. I saw you throw up some support up there. Thank you. At any rate, you are able to make your new narrative. You could be whoever you want to be, so long as you understand that you need to own your narrative. There's no excuse to experience narcissistic abuse again. There just isn't. Once you've experienced it, if you heal yourself the right way, reform your narrative, rediscover who you are, you have to get away from the toxic people, whether it's your family, friends, ex-spouse. You've got to get away from them, go no contact, and then you can build your new narrative. And from this place, you should never experience narcissistic abuse again, because your narrative should be such that you cut it off the moment it even steps into your presence. You know better now. And plus, your narrative now won't allow that. Right? This is how. It's not easy. I know it's not. Well, here's the thing. rebuilding your narrative is actually quite easy. What's not easy is letting go of the reason that your narrative was destroyed. Right? And I take that back. It's not easy to rebuild your narrative because, again, it was everything that you were. Everything that you were told about this life, everything that you aspired to be, everything that you thought you were, that is what's been damaged. That's what's fallen apart. It's not easy. It's not easy. You're absolutely right. It's very hard. But it becomes easier if you stay away from the toxic relationships, because that pull back into that relationship is like taking steps back to the old narrative. Colleen asks, how do we keep them from renting space in our heads? There's a couple of ideas as far as having them not rent the narcissist, right? So oftentimes we find ourselves stuck thinking about the narcissistic people. How do they get in our heads? In my own personal journey, what I've discovered is, I saw Tanya. Thank you. Tanya gave it a shout out. What I discovered in my own personal journey is that I had a role to play in the narcissist renting space in my head. Partly it was due to the fact that I would every now and then look at their social media. Right? I was guilty. I did that. I would go online, see what they're up to. And I believe sometimes we do that. You know, maybe we're still connected to them in some way, shape, or form. Maybe we're connected to a friend of a friend of a friend even. This right here allows them that foot. They've got one foot in the door if you're checking them out, checking up on them, talking to friends of friends and this and that. It's keeping, you're staying in the circle. Look, narcissistic abuse is like you're caught in a spider web. It's like being caught in a spider web, and the spider, which is the narcissist, is maybe over here on the spider web, but you're still in the web somewhere, right? And as you wiggle, you're sending vibrations down to the spider. As the spider moves, it's sending vibrations to you. So you can look at this network that you're in as being an invisible spider web. And that's one way it keeps occupied in your mind. You have to break free of the entire web, get up and fly away. And which is not easy to do because a lot of you aren't used to just cold cutting people out of your life like that. But oftentimes it's what you have to do. So you do have to think of the role that you play, Mark. Yes, you have to think, listen, it's narcissistic abuse is a two-way thing. It does take two people to play, right? It's not narcissist abuse without you being there. You have to be there. Otherwise, they have no one to play with, right? And so you do have to do everything in your power to be out and away from them, which means that if you know they're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, you don't go there, right? Period. End. Yeah, so that's part of it. Another part of it is just with that, the renting space in your head, that is also going to take time. That really is something that's going to take time. Another way is to fill your time with new things. How many of you are aware that just a couple of weeks ago, I rappelled down 19 stories, right? Let me tell you something. You can watch the video on YouTube about that. As I prepared in the weeks coming up to rappelling down 19 stories of the building, I was so into, my own exposure therapy, zip lining. And I put these videos on Instagram. For those of you who follow me on Instagram at Join the Royal We, I shared that journey. But as I was doing this, as I was filling my life with this adventure and this adrenaline and facing this fear, it literally pushed the thought of the narcissist out of my head. So that's the second recommendation for how do you get them out of your head. Fill your life with something else. Fill your life with facing a fear. Fill your life with something. It can't be something that is not going to be strong enough to push out the thought of narcissistic abuse. Because let's face it, I should make a video on this. This is true. A lot of times we do absolutely nothing, clean our house, do the same old stuff we've always done and expect the thoughts of the narcissist to just disappear. Well, listen, the narcissistic relationship, that abuse dynamic sends chemicals, adrenaline, dopamine, all kinds of things throughout your body. It is a rush. There is no way your body is going to let go of that. You become addicted to it yourself. There's no way your body's going to let go of it if you're not doing anything to replace that rush. If you're living a boring, mundane lifestyle, right, not challenging yourself, then you're going to revert to constantly thinking about what challenged you. And that's the narcissist. So the other recommendation would be to challenge yourself. So there's two things. Then I'll ask another question that's worked for me. The first part, just to recap, the first part is cut them off. Stop looking at their social media. Know your role in how you look at them. The second part is, what are you doing in your life to replace the thoughts of the narcissist? Those are two things. And I'll move on to another question here. Tanya posted it. Karen asks, is it like when you have physical contact or connect, it affects your spirit and soul? So it's hard to disconnect in the soul and spirit. Do you think this is true? I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time understanding this question. So Karen asks, is it like when you have a physical connect, it affects your spirit and soul? It affects your spirit and soul. So it's hard to disconnect in the soul and spirit. Do you think this is true? Okay, so I don't believe that, I'm not sure who Tanya's asking this for, but I've covered this kind of before. Man, I should make some notes here on what we're talking about. I've covered this before, but how many of you believe in a soulmate? I don't believe in a soulmate. And I think that one of the things we have to understand is that a lot of our ideas of relationships, soulmates, spiritual connections, this and that, a lot of that is narrative, okay? And again, tonight's video, go watch tonight's video. It's about the narratives we've been given in life. And I believe the whole soulmate concept and stuff like that is some of the narratives that we've been given. And what I've discovered in my own personal journey, especially now being a part of Royal We Fellowship, I've discovered that our soul, we are made complete. And I'm not saying this like in a new age way. I mean from the ancient literature of the Bible, as far as how the ancient Hebrew people understood how God made us. This is something that Christianity does not talk about enough. But in the beginning, God made a person. The person's name was Adam, right? Adam was made complete. It says in the beginning, God said, let us make humanity in our image, our likeness. That likeness is, some people call it the Trinity, the Godhead, the royal we, right? Jesus, God. It was a plurality in one. I talked to a rabbi about this. The ancient word for God is Elohim, which is a plurality. It's not a singularity, it's a plurality. They understood that Elohim, God, is plural, not multiple gods, but multiple components that make up God. Okay? So later on, Christianity describes this as the Trinity, the Godhead, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Before Jesus, they still had this understanding that God was a multiple, a compound unity. So this is important to understand this. So if you understand this, you've got God as a compound unity, right? I know you got to think outside the box. It's not singular. God is a plurality made up of compound things, right? If you understand this, and then you understand how God made humanity, and God said, let us make humanity in our likeness. That likeness is a compound unity. So we as individuals are a compound unity. How many of you know that? We are made up of multiple things that make us a person. We're not just physical. We're not just flesh. You have a spirit. You have a soul. You have heart. And we're not talking about the heart that beats. I've talked about this before in other videos. The heart that's talked about in the Bible is a different heart. It's the heart that drives you. It's the heart that the ancient writers were saying that God talks about. The heart. It's from the heart of a person that they speak. Okay, that's not the red beating thing in your chest. That's a different heart that we can't see. It's not a physical heart. So there's another heart. It's a component inside of you. Then you have your mind. Well, what is your mind? Okay, not your brain. Your brain is a place where you store memories. That's what the brain is. It's like a memory bank, right? Your mind is what's able to navigate and comb through your memory bank and pull out memories, wisdom, discernment, all these things, right? So if we look at how we're made up of these powerful, amazing concepts that I can't even begin to understand talking about. And the reason I'm saying this is because we're made complete. In the ancient literature of the Bible, it says that God made humanity in his likeness. The likeness of God is that God is complete as a plurality, a compound unity. God's complete. So are we. So what does this mean for you and me? It means we don't need anybody else in order to be complete. So there's no such thing as a soulmate. When you die, when we leave this life, we are not going to be connected and joined to another person's soul or spirit. It's going to be just as it was in the beginning. God made humanity, the person, and there you are, standing before God. So we need to get past this idea, this narrative that we are supposed to be a soulmate to somebody and connected by spirit to another person. Right? We don't have to be. Does it feel good to be? Yeah. But if we look at relationships here, so what are relationships here? Relationships here on this earth are meant to be help, as the Bible says, helpmates, right? Eve was a suitable helpmate for Adam. And so if we look at relationships, really this is what relationships are for. They're so that we can have help in this life. We find suitable helpmates in marriage, to raise kids, to have a family. In work environments and this and that. And so when you understand the importance of relationships and how they are to be helpful in your life, help you grow as you help others grow, now you can do a better job of weeding out the personalities that you're not jiving with. Narcissistically abusive people are one of those personalities, right? I hope that this makes sense. Adam and Eve were made as adults. I'm not set to take a phone call right now, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I don't have it hooked up into the audio board. Adam and Eve were made as adults. We come in as infants and need to grow. Yeah, sorry. I know someone's trying to call, but I don't have it hooked up right now. I apologize. I'm not able to take live calls. Next Monday night, I will make sure that I'm set up to take the live calls. Adam and Eve were made as adults. We come in as infants and need to grow to completion. This gets distorted by abuse, and some end up incomplete like NPD. I would agree with that. I would agree to that. Adam and Eve were made as adults. We grow into the understanding that they were made into. That's an important aspect of it. But nonetheless, we have the same components of Adam and Eve within us. So we are made complete. I think just as infants, we need to have that understanding and grow. And one of the best things that we could help the youth understand is that they are made complete. They don't require anything to be complete. It's good to have helpmates. It's good to have friends. It's good to socialize. But as far as this idea that you need somebody else to complete you, this is dangerous thinking. And this puts people dependent and possibly in abusive relationships, codependence, right? Yeah, thanks, Colleen. I am. I got a thunderstorm coming tonight, so. Oh, thank you so much, Todd B. I appreciate that. Appreciate you coming in just to say thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Hi, Shia girl, 18. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Karen says, also meant God made us to unite as pure together, and saying narcissists don't see like that. Very true. Very true. Julie adds that soul is related to your feelings, spirit is of God's voice. Excellent. Excellent. It's fascinating when you get into the roles of the different components of our makeup, right? I mean, just think about that. When you start to get into thinking about how you, in fact, one of the things I would recommend all of you do, I do it quite a bit. Sometimes I used to do it more. I stopped, but I should. But really just consider yourself. Consider everything about yourself, not just your physical body. You know, we spend so much time just putting makeup on our physical body and working on our physical outward appearance, but all our physical body is in this world is the buffer between us and the external world. But when you consider who you really are, like what is it? When you start to think about what is it that allows you to think about your thoughts? What is it that allows you to navigate your brain? What is it that allows you to discern situations? What is it allows you to be mindful? What is it that allows you to pick up, senses when things are off? Um, the gut feeling when you know something's wrong. What is it to understand what your heart really is, right? When we talk about heart, again, not the heart that beats blood, but your motivations in life, your drive. That's your heart, your motivation. I think that the heart is motivation. And when you look at these things deeply, you'll see that these things have a life of their own, but inside of you, and they work together. Your mind, your motivation, your heart, your spirit. These things all are living. They're living. I mean, and they're you can't see them, you can't touch them. They're not physical. They're not a part of your flesh, but if our flesh is nothing more than electricity and blood that carries oxygen, then you have to have the understanding, and our brain does nothing but send electrical impulses to our limbs, which cause them to move and control the muscles, right? We're breaking down the flesh, and doctors do this stuff all the time. I'm sure that even doctors have to understand that. Then what powers all of it? Now you're getting into the unseen. You're getting into the realm of our mind, our spirit, our soul. What drives these vehicles? Our heart. And so when you get into this stuff, then you'll start to understand just how complete you are. Hope that makes sense. Right on. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that makes sense in the emotional sense. And I hope you all have an opportunity to go out and hop onto the Royal We channel tonight. Check out the video I just uploaded on being broken, on what's broken, how to fix it. And with that, I do look forward to putting out more videos all throughout this week. And I'm going to keep working on that. And So I thank all of you for being here. It's we're in spring here in the Midwest, and so it's weird weather. It's cold one day, hot the other day, rain and thunderstorms and all that fun stuff. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Disappearing Remedy. Remember, you are all awesome. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya. Yep. Jody says, my second time here. Somehow Mondays are hard for me to remember, but I'm so happy to be here with everyone. Everyone take care. Have a great night. Thank you, Jody. It's good to see you here. Karen, thank you. Thank you so much again, Karen. I appreciate you. Thank you, Minnesota Jude. Minnesota Jude. Hey, Jude, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Appreciate you. And NJ Philly. All right. Would love for you to visit Jamaica one day. She a girl. I would love to visit Jamaica one day. Be safe, everybody. Right on. It's good to see all of you. Thank you, Mark Hobbs. Appreciate you. Right on. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Great rest of the week. And be blessed all week long. And For those of you who are on Royal We Fellowship, I will definitely see you Saturday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time for Royal We Fellowship Saturday morning. And this week, look out for videos on the Royal We channel. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.